Welcome back to our bonus episode.
This is our first bonus.
First bonus episode.
Bonus.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
All right. This is kind of impromptu. We weren't expecting this, but I had so many questions for Joey with CrossFit Yuma that I just wanted to pick his brain. Feel free to add on to any question.
Go
okay,
for
but
it.
my first thing is I've never done CrossFit, okay? I've heard horror stories about it. I don't want to give a bad rap again, but I'm sure I'm not the only guy who feels this way.
Yeah.
A little bit of background on myself. I am training for a marathon. I've ran 4 marathons in the past. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't get the runner's high, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I just do it to stay mentally tough, to be focused, and just there's a point when you run, and it could be even a half marathon, but there's a point where your body says, hey, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then you just want to quit.
Yeah.
And then it's just one foot after the other to the finish line.
Chop.
Yep. And really, it's as sick as it sounds. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can't even imagine doing what you guys do and then adding lifting weights on there. Doing like the Spartan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never really tried it. Kind of my easy way out.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm gonna get injured or something like
Sure.
that. So for someone like me, how would you encourage me to give CrossFit a try?
I would say first and foremost, to address one of the things you said, that there's a lot of kind of myths out there and negative perceptions sometimes, and those are out there, and they're largely false. They've come about through various means, but so what I would say is, if you're looking to get started in CrossFit, is first and foremost find somewhere that has reputable coaches that are experienced and that care about you, because really some of these things you talked about, injury and that, and a lot of that comes down to good coaching. And so knowing how to structure workouts, knowing how to scale workouts to someone's fitness level, what their abilities are, knowing how much to push them and when to push them, is just kind of the root, the foundation, is coaching. And so finding some place where you go in and you get some attention, people are paying attention to you and engaged with you and your movement and quality of movement and what you're trying to achieve.
I haven't lifted weights in a very long time. Would you encourage me to start with that, or just go to a CrossFit course? So I would encourage you to start with lifting weights at a CrossFit gym. At a CrossFit gym.
Yeah. So one of the notions, is that you have to be in shape to start to do CrossFit, or you have to get in shape before going to CrossFit, which is completely ridiculous. CrossFit will get you in shape. And we coach people from kids, young kids, up to 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, people that are out of shape, that are overweight, that are coming back from an injury, that are everywhere in between, from professional athletes to soccer moms to,
anybody can do it.
To Jerry.
To Jerry.
No.
If Jerry
but,
can do it.
Somewhere.
No, but really,
You mentioned kids. What age is it safe for a child to start doing that?
It's really safe at any age. I mean, obviously the ability of the child to focus and pay attention is kind of a big driving factor, and so depending on what age group we're working with will decide the level of intensity and the level of difficulty that we introduce to them. And so with younger kids, we start very basic movements with no external load, and just try to establish proper mechanics, proper range of motion, way before we ever try to introduce an external load of any sorts.
I know you mentioned you had five-year-old.
We have twin 5-year-olds.
Twin 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
Do they dabble in it?
Yes, they do.
They do.
Yeah, and so we teach them. We have a 4-year-old girl. Actually, she's a daughter of one of our members, and she's been doing it for a while. She's 4 years old, but we have her doing what we call a front squat with a PVC pipe, which is just kind of puts her into the right position for the lift, and it doesn't weigh very much, only a few ounces, but it's introducing that external load, but in a very safe way, and she's able to move efficiently and well with that external load, at 4 years old. And so obviously that weight will change and increase as you become more proficient in age, but
and I'm kind of a naturally bulky guy, and I know you guys are really lean. Is that something that CrossFit does for you? It really leans you out, or is that just because of your particular body types?
It's a little bit of both. CrossFit will definitely lean you out as far as changing. There's only so much you can do with certain body types as far as how bulky someone is or how big someone is, so to speak. But you can certainly change the body composition, changing the muscle mass to fat ratio, which is very critical for health and a very big driver of long-term health in individuals. And so that's really what we look to do, is change that body composition. But the bulkiness, whether men or women, which is a big misconception with women, that if they lift weights, they're going to get bulky.
You hear that, babe?
And, it's really not the case. I've been trying to bulk up for years. I can't do it. But it really has to do with diet. Nutrition is a big part of that. What you eat, what you put into your body impacts that. And so what we do in CrossFit and what you're going to experience is a changing of your body composition. It's losing that excess body fat, leaning out, putting on some lean muscle, and just making yourself healthier.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Joe and I have talked about this. So I started off, I weighed about 168 pounds, and I was wearing 32s, which I'm wearing now, that would fit me, regularly. I weigh 163, 164 pounds now, and my pants are falling off. So I've lost fat, and I've put muscle on.
And in that process, have gotten a lot stronger.
A lot. Absolutely. I mean, I thought I was in decent shape when I started. And so the other thing I would add too, which was awesome about CrossFit, is when I started, I remember the first day, Jenny Jones. I said something. I was like, and these girls are in there squatting. I mean, they still out squat me. Some of these girls are just absolutely strong. And I said something, and Jenny heard me, and she goes, "Well, Jerry, one thing is about here is you got to leave your ego at the door." And she didn't mean she was saying it to be true. And I've said the same thing to a couple other people now. Have been, because you really truly do. It's not about what somebody else does. It's not about me competing with so-and-so. It's about me competing with myself. It's about Joey competing with Joey. It's about Edward competing with Edward. And do you think
that's where the injury sets in? Because you're seeing these girls squatting this amount of weight that you can't even do, but you're saying, "Hey, I'm not going to let this girl." Well,
so I think that's part of the lessons that not to get too far into the CrossFit dogma or whatever, but it's true. Like it's not about the competition of other people. You need to remain, and this is something that I need to work on. But it's teaching me, Jerry, you need to do what you can do, and you need to work on your form before you want to throw more weight on there. Yeah. You need to learn the mechanics. You need to become better at making the lifts, because who cares if somebody's out? You want what's the goal here? The goal is to be stronger, become a better athlete, and be healthier for a long period of time. That's the goal. Ego gets in there. And that's when you need to just leave the ego at the door, just like Jenny told me.
And I think that's probably the hardest part.
Yeah, it is. And to address that, the injury aspect, which is a concern for a lot of people, and that misconception grew largely, early on in CrossFit, when there weren't a lot of good coaches out there that were doing it, and people would do CrossFit on their own and hurt themselves because they were doing it improperly or outside of their capabilities. And then, CrossFit became the mechanism for injury, when really it's not CrossFit, it's not the philosophy, it's not the programming, it's doing it absent a good coach. And so that's one of the things that a good coach will do, is help moderate your ego. Say like, you're not quite ready to handle that weight yet. You need to back down just a little bit, or push you. You are capable of doing that. You can add a little bit more. And so a good coach will help balance that and kind of keep you within that normal healthy challenge.
Yeah, it's like driving a car blindfolded and blaming the car for the car. Well, you're blindfolded. You don't have the knowledge, the ability, or the skill.
Right.
You really can't blame the process if you're not taking the time to learn it. So,
great analogy. Great analogy.
Pretty good.
So, on a personal note, give us your routine. Like, what do you eat in the mornings? Give us a daily typical routine.
What I eat,
or rituals. Not just what you eat, but when you wake up in the morning, do you read? Do you do this, that, and the other? Tell us how you stay on track.
Okay. Yeah. I get up every morning at 4:30, and not something I've always done, but it's my life now, and it's something that I've grown accustomed to. But I get up at 4:30 every morning. I cook myself breakfast. I usually eat, eggs and ham with some added things in there, and but I make myself breakfast every morning. I head out the door to go to the gym. Get to the gym, about 5:15, 5:20 or so, and I'm there till about 7 more or less, and then move on. Sometimes I'll move on to some other things, take care of business kind of aspects during the day. And then in the afternoon, I usually will head back to the gym, work out, maybe for a second time, coach, interact with the people of our gym, and do that through the afternoon, evening. Try to balance that with kid activities and other things. And then in the evening, head home and just try to unwind. One thing that we always do is eat dinner as a family together. No matter how busy we are, no matter how early in the day or how late in the day, we have to squeeze it in. We always sit down at the table and eat dinner together as a family. So that's a really important part of my life, in my daily routine. So we do that, and then I'll just hang out, unwind a little bit. I always read before I go to bed, and so I'll lay in bed and read a little bit, and then drift off to sleep around 10:30, and
do it all over again.
So let's talk about the diet. So you ate breakfast in the morning before working out, and then what do you do after you work out? Any protein shakes, anything like that? Any extra food?
Yeah, so I eat, my food. I always try to weigh and measure how much I eat. I've been doing that for a couple years, and balance that. So I always try to balance to my macronutrients, the proteins, carbohydrates, and fat, to take in certain portions at each meal, and keep that balance. And it just helps regulate my hormone levels and keeps me energized throughout the day, so I don't have these peaks and valleys during the day where I get sleepy and tired and have to eat or drink something to pick me back up. So anyway, I do that to help balance. And then after my workout, I always take a recovery protein shake. It's just a protein shake that has some branched chain amino acids in it to help my body recover. But it's a natural protein source. It's a healthy source is from free-range grass-fed cows, and there's no additives, no sugar, none of that junk in there. And so I'll do that. Then I'll eat lunch typically around 10 o'clock or so. I'll eat lunch, and then again.
What's for lunch at 10 a.m.?
Typically, it's something that I've prepared ahead of time, because
you prep a lot.
I do a lot of food prep. Yeah, absolutely. And so on the weekend, I'll typically prep with help from my wife. Got to mention that. We'll prep food ahead of time. I'll cook a whole bunch of meat of some sort, of some protein, and I'll have it in the refrigerator, cooked and ready for the week. Same with meat, carbohydrates. Like I might make a whole bunch of sweet potatoes on the weekend and a bunch of vegetables, and just have it in the refrigerator, and easy to kind of grab with some pieces of fruit, and put a lunch together. So I'll eat that, some meat and vegetables and fruit typically for lunch. And then if I work out a second time in the afternoon, I'll take another protein shake after my workout.
Okay. So you ate lunch at 10.
I'll eat at 10.
And then you eat again at what time?
I'll probably eat again. I have a little bit longer stretch in the afternoon just because of my schedule typically and when I'm going to work out. But sometimes I'll eat a snack around 2 or 3, or depending when I'm going to work out, I'll eat that snack after I work out. And so that'll just be some protein, some carbohydrates for my workout, and then I'll count my protein shake after my workout as sort of my protein snack. and then I'll eat again in the evening dinner with the family, and which again we try to have.
Is dinner prepped or is that fresh food?
No, it's fresh food. Yeah,
okay,
my
so
wife.
Dinner's typically.
Typically my wife will make dinner for the family, and
gotcha.
Some days it's prepped food, leftovers, or cooked ahead
depends on
because
how
of our
busy it's
schedule.
been.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
with the big
That's
family,
cool.
and sometimes we gotta cook the dinner during the day and then reheat it at night or something. But I do that, and then before I go to bed, I always eat again right before bed. Yeah, so right before I crawl in and grab a book,
What do you eat before bed?
Typically, I'll eat a little bit of protein, like some chicken or something that I've had.
Oh wow, so like a full meal.
Yeah,
before bed.
and then my secret I'm giving away, but I'll always eat some Cheerios before I go to bed.
Okay.
Just regular
Some
plain
carbs.
Cheerios. Yeah, I eat about an ounce of Cheerios with 8 ounces of milk, and a scoop of almond butter right before bed.
Oh wow.
That's very interesting because
Yeah.
I was craving something sweet. It was last week and it was Cheerios. I had some Cheerios with a leftover banana, and the next morning I had like one of the best runs I had had in a long
Really?
time. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that must be the Cheerios.
It's the Cheerios.
It's the magic Cheerios.
Well, that's all I had. Thank you very much. You have something to add, Jerry?
No, that's
awesome stuff.
Well, fish oil. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I do. That's the
recovery.
only. Yeah, I do take fish oil. I don't take it. I take the protein, but the only other thing I do take is fish oil.
Okay.
Which
I've been
helps
taking
reduce inflammation.
krill oil,
Mhm.
so I've been dabbling with that because they say it's not as rancid and not as much risk on that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
Yeah, and that all depends on the source of
Yeah.
the fish oil. Where you get it from, and obviously different companies source it differently, and so yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, thanks again
Thank
for
you.
joining
Thanks,
us
guys.
on this bonus round.
Yeah.
Bonus round number 1.
Yeah.
All right.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Joey, thanks, buddy.